Welcome in. It is now time for episode 7, finally, of the Ecks Squad Talk Show. I'm X, here with Austin
What's up?
and RoCkstar.
It's a me.
First thing first, congratulations go to RoCkstar for getting engaged over this past week.
Thank you.
Actually, it was 2 weeks ago, but
Close enough.
and it is going to be a fun episode, I hope. Let's start things off with who everybody thinks is whose career was affected most by the Madden curse. And since it's my question, I guess I will answer first. And I kept going back and forth. But I think it's going to actually have to be Madden 08, Vince Young. He came in 2007. He had 9 touchdowns and 17 interceptions after having the Rookie of the Year. And then I mean he went missing in the middle of a game because he left. No, it was after the game. He left the stadium, didn't tell anybody. His mom had the cops called because nobody knew where he was. I mean, and in 2011 he became a backup. In 2014 he was out of the league, but from 2008 to 2011, that's all we really have for him starting. I mean, I feel like he could have been great, but then he just fell off a cliff pretty much.
I think that's a fair choice. It's not a name that a lot of people would think of when it comes to the Madden curse. But for me, I gotta go with the one, the only CTESPN himself, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown, you want to talk about potential to be one of the greatest receivers of this generation. The man had everything necessary except for a good head on his shoulders. A head that was knocked into next week by Montez Perfect, but we're not going to talk about that. But the Madden curse, the man went from, being on the Madden cover, just one of the best, if not the best receiver in the league. The man gave up a touchdown just so he could drop kick the punter. Uh, that's a level of madness that you can't really mess around with. But he was so close to just breaking through to that top tier status, and ironically, I don't think it was because of the Madden curse necessarily, but that's when everything really started to crater down. That's when he demanded to get out of Pittsburgh, and after that, he never really managed anywhere else. So just cautionary tale: don't get hit in the head.
I mean, that hit
I
could
can
have been
definitely.
considered legal. It was a shoulder to the head.
Yeah, for me,
Should have protected himself.
I couldn't choose between two. The first one, just because he was one of my favorite football players, and then saw him on the cover of the 2004 Madden game. Then shortly after, he ended up having that, he fractured his fibula, and then had numerous other problems outside and off the field. But my first pick basically for it is Michael Vick. Like, to me, yeah, fulfilled. He lost a lot of respect with other unspeakable things that he did, but that injury was just, to me, it was a big downfall for his career after that. He just didn't quite have the movement that he had beforehand.
Michael Vick didn't even crack my short list of 4 because I also had Dante Culpepper, Sean Alexander, and of course Peyton Hillis.
Yep, Hillis was my number 2.
I like to think of Peyton Hillis not as like the most affected by the Madden curse, but the most, wait, why was he on the Madden cover kind of athlete of all time? Like that's a question that wins you bar trivia. Um, one week, and Peyton Hillis was a dog. Don't get me wrong, but he's someone that you see on a Madden cover, and you just go, "Wait, Peyton Hillis was on the Madden cover?"
I mean, he had an amazing year the year before, especially for a fullback in the early 2000s
Definitely.
or the mid 2000s, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind, 2012. So the 2010s. But yeah, Peyton Hillis, he had a great year. And I mean, Antonio Brown, that's another one though. Like that shoulder to the head. I mean, that should be fine. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
will also say, depending on who you ask, a lot of his teammates will tell you that a lot of what we think of as, oh, these are the long-term effects of CTE, he was already showing a lot of those behaviors well before that hit. So, and I've always felt that you can't use that as just a blanket excuse for poor behavior, because CTE can absolutely ruin your life and change the way you act in a multitude of massive ways. But I think it's wrong to just to take away all accountability from his poor behavior
Yeah,
for a lot of the things he's done, just by saying, "Oh, it was CTE."
same with
Correct.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Aaron Hernandez was killing people before he joined the NFL.
That's my point. But they want to say it had a lot to do with CTE. I don't think so.
Mhm.
No, I think that it definitely didn't help the situation, but
Definitely not.
still, yeah, he was definitely messed up well before that.
Yeah, it's like Lions players talking about Dan Orlovsky being the reason that they had their perfect, losing season. Like, didn't help.
Didn't help, but that safety wasn't the reason.
No, but it's hilarious that he's a guy that we're supposed to take seriously in the broadcasting booth. Is like, yes, the man who safeties himself is who we're all going to listen to about. Like, so this is what the quarterback's doing wrong.
Yeah, I always thought it was funny when they're like, "Oh, well, let's see what Dan Orlovsky thinks." I'm like, "Why?" Like, he's not the person that I would go to for quarterbacking advice.
Yeah.
And on to the next.
All right. So our next question is going to be, in celebration of my personal favorite match, having just passed us, the WWE Royal Rumble. My question for you is, who is the single worst Royal Rumble winner in the history of that most illustrious match? And I will go ahead and go first. And my answer is going to be the one, the only notable piece of shit, Alberto Del Rio. Not only a terrible human being, but when he won the Royal Rumble, you could hear a mouse fart in the arena. No one cared. No one was invested. The man was a charisma vacuum that could have a decent technical match, but more than that, to me, he was just a huge example of WWE trying desperately and failing spectacularly at capturing the Latino market after losing Eddie, losing Ray. Uh, he just he could not meet the occasion. Like he could not uh, stand on that pedestal that they were trying to make for him. And he's maybe not the most catastrophically terrible Rumble winner, but to me, he's just endemic of, like, he perfectly encapsulates what is wrong with WWE's mentality when trying to prop up that guy to corner that market, and them just not being able to nail the execution for what they're trying to achieve.
For me, he was number 2 on my list, and to me, the reason, I mean, everything that you listed is great reasoning, but for me, was because the last person he eliminated, Santino Marella. To me, I was hoping that Santino would get that victory, and then Del Rio popped back in out of nowhere. Oh, that pissed me off like none other. So that was actually my second choice that if I would have went to.
Yeah, Del Rio never really crossed my radar because, like I said, I did my research, or like I said, off camera, I guess. I did my research, but since you asked this question a month ago, I already knew who my answer was going to be. But if Rockstar wants to do his answer next, that'd be great.
Yeah, like I
I'll let
said,
you
to
go
me,
next.
Del Rio. Yeah, Del Rio. He was definitely number 2 on my list. But as soon as I knew that this was the question we were doing, there is only one wrestler that came to mind first and foremost, and that was in 2014, Bautista. The run that Daniel Bryan had, the powerhouse he had leading behind them, and then for them to screw Daniel Bryan was his name then, over and let Batista win the Royal Rumble heading into WrestleMania 30 was just, to me, there wasn't a silence in the arena like there was for Del Rio. There was booing. There was displeasure. It, to me, was awful, and they should have never, ever, ever, in the words of Chris Jericho, let Bautista, I can't even say his name right, but let him win the 2014 Royal Rumble.
Yeah, he definitely should have never been a 2-time.
Broken dreams. That's all I can think of. Just the salt in the wound. Throw D-Bry out and then just Goldust, broken dreams. Like, screw you.
I mean, I would have rather had Goldust win. But I mean, yeah. To quote Jericho again, Bautista should have never been Royal Rumble winner again. Because I don't think he deserved to have his second. There's a lot that I don't think deserve to have a second, but I'm gonna have to go older than that. Who's the worst Royal Rumble winner? I mean, the first person to win the Royal Rumble and not win the subsequent title match way back in 1994. It was planned to have a double winner, but Lex Luger was not planned to win the title at all. It was all about Bret Hart. Lex Luger is by far, in my opinion, the worst because, like I said, they said, "Hey, you win the Royal Rumble, but we have no plan for you." Either they had no plan for him, or they realized he couldn't follow through with the plan.
Yeah, here we go. Bonus topic on this, since we're talking about worst or least favorite Rumble winner. Who's your favorite Rumble winner?
Um, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, Jey Uso's up there. I don't care what anybody says. I like the fact that Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble back in 2025 because it's a anything can happen in the Royal Rumble. But I gotta say, my favorite Rumble winner has to be Shawn Michaels. Uh, Mostly because he's my favorite wrestler of all time. But also because like they always built him up for the longevity, for the stamina. And what better way than go number one? Plus, he was the first number one winner. Uh, Number one all the way to the end and win.
That's a much tougher question right there, but I've got to go with the man who I share a name with, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I could not tell you which Rumble, but oh man, every time that he won, it made the Rumble feel bigger. Like it made it feel like a special event, and that could go for just about anything you attach that man to.
Yeah.
I don't think Rockstar realizes he's muted.
Well, so my phone ended up dying, or not dying, but I'm sitting in my car and I have the audio going through the car and now I've got Modest Mouse playing and hearing you guys.
Hell yeah.
Best part is we can't hear Modest Mouse.
Oh, well, so what was your response? Because I could not hear any of your responses.
Mine was Shawn Michaels.
Mine was Stone Cold. Don't ask me to pick which one.
Stone Cold, okay. For me, it has to be back in 1993 with a tear in my eye. Ric Flair winning the 93 Rumble, winning the title. Amazing. 92, whatever. Yeah, that was the 92 Rumble. Yeah. But to me, Flair, greatest Rumble winner ever, coming in at number 3, and that was just an amazing WWE for him for his first Rumble. And the way Heenan built it, amazing.
Yeah,
So can I real quick just say something that's always annoyed me with the Rumble is the way that they try to treat coming in at number 1 as being so much bigger of a deal of winning at number 1 as opposed to number 2. Number 2's been in the ring the exact same amount of time except for standing around. Like, why do we treat the number 2 winner like it's nowhere near as big a deal as the guy that came in at number 1?
agreed.
Because if you ain't first, you're last.
Ain't wrong.
Yeah. It's not a bad response to that. All right. And up next.
All right, y'all. So bringing to the table this week for you, my question: what wrestler got you inspired to start watching wrestling? For me, I think that it would have had to have been seeing the last end of Andre's career just because of how giant he was. I mean, I understand that, yeah, his career was over pretty much 86, 87, so I was only 4 or 5, but as a kid seeing him, he just looked so larger than life, and, you know, the way that he would toss around someone that looked so amazing like Hogan was just, to me, out of this world.
It's a really good answer. I really like that answer. Andre never crossed my radar as the person, but I guess I'll give my answer next. You asked this question last night, and my brain was going. It may have been the night before, but my brain was going. I was like, which wrestler got me actually into watching? Because I've been watching wrestling, WWE, WWF. Not quite old enough for WWF, but you know, I've been watching my whole life, and I gotta say, my father got me into actually watching wrestling. So I'm just gonna say, growing up, I was always a Hulkamaniac. So I'm gonna have to say Hogan. I can't think of anybody else who would have got me more invested in what I was watching than the ultimate superhero of Hulk Hogan.
I am a real American.
Hey, don't get us copywritten.
Well, those are 2 excellent answers to phenomenal legends of the craft that I think have gotten tens, hundreds of thousands, potentially even millions of people into this wonderful competition that we all love. But with all the accomplishments of those people, I don't think either of them ever won a gold medal with a broken frickin' neck. And that's why I gotta go with Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle not only inspired me to love wrestling, he inspired me to wrestle in high school. His story of perseverance, of managing to always overcome the odds and perform at the highest levels. He was a Boy Scout, and he was so goofy, but he was so goofy he made it work. He turned what was something that was genuinely annoying into something that was incredibly entertaining. I think he's one of the biggest unsung heroes of that era in WWE, and he's getting his flowers now, but at the time, I don't think we realized just how lucky we were to have him.
Absolutely not. I personally was not a fan of haired Kurt Angle, but once he shaved that head and he got intense, yeah, he definitely one of the greatest. His TNA era is the best, though.
Absolutely.
I feel that for a lot of wrestlers. Like TNA is, if they've wrestled there, that's one of their best eras. AJ Styles, I understand, yeah, he started there, but still, that was his best era. Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, like,
Bobby
you know, a
Lashley.
lot of Lashley, yeah. So I feel that, yeah, that's a good stomping ground.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But you talked about Kurt Angle getting you into wrestling, into sports entertainment. The person from wrestling who got me into MMA was Ken Shamrock. Ken Shamrock got me into the UFC. My favorite UFC competitor of all time is still Hoist Gracie, though. But yeah, Ken Shamrock got me in to the UFC. If either one of you are into the UFC, who got you into it? And who's your favorite?
Uh, so this is actually a really funny one. I was never like super into MMA for the longest time. The one that really got me into it was Raquel Pennington, and that's because I worked with her.
Hmm.
She worked at our store, the place that X and I worked together. She actually worked there years before she broke through, and she always talked about dreaming of making it in MMA and eventually going to UFC. And the fact that she did, she lived that dream, and she won gold. Like, that's awesome. And that was my jumping off point. She was the one that got me into it. There's other fighters that I prefer nowadays, but she was the one that that opened that door for me.
Nice. I'll have to check her out.
For me, back in my early UFC days, that was a different life. My bad. No. For me, I would have to say, I don't know, out of Shamrock was definitely amazing. I preferred Severin over Shamrock, but to me, I always loved watching Tank Abbott, especially
Ooh.
Once he did become a wrestler in WCW. Just his straightforward pound him was just beastly. It was like a mini version. Cause he had that just stoutness that, yeah, I wouldn't want to fuck with him.
Yeah, the only thing about Tank Abbott, the only thing I can't get out of my head is he was a part of 3 Count, the boy band.
Right.
I don't know what WCW was thinking, but
It's WCW. They weren't.
exactly. NWO worked, and then they kept trying it.
Yeah.
But that concludes our episode for this week, episode 7, lucky number 7. Comment down below. Let us know your answers to these topics, all of them, every single one. Like the video if you like
Everything.
it and
All
you
of
want to see more. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell so you know when they come out. And subscribe to RockStar's channel as well. That would be...
RockStar CC Nonsense.
There we go. And of course, he will be collabed in this video.
Eventually doing stuff on there.
Yep. Hopefully he'll be opening cards, which reminds me, I'm going to be opening cards soon. Hopefully I'll be able to get a card good enough to trade for one of the Joe Burrow patches that Rockstar has opened at my house. Hopefully it's like a Will Howard. You've opened a Will Howard here too. But we'll see you in the next one.
2 Will Hour.
2 Will Howard and 2 Burrow. See you next week. See you in the next one.
Take care.